start off with the wake-up conversations this morning. It's got to do with the tariff hike. We're back again. There's a new tariff hike that's coming, according to the federal government. The Minister of Power has spoken, and I'm sure he also presented that at the FEC, that's the Federal Executive Council meeting that was held yesterday and chaired by the number one citizen, President Tinubu. There's going to be a new tariff hike, bottom line, and Nigerians should be ready to pay more.
For what?
Tariff hike.
Electricity.
Yes, electricity. It's been said that there's going to be no more subsidies on electricity, because what is happening currently is that the federal government is subsidizing electricity for those who are in band B, C, and so on.
So everybody now has to move to
now
band
everybody
A.
has to move to band A. No more.
Would you provide the electricity?
So
the band A type electricity.
So to be honest, I think that it's pretty unfair to say that people in band B, band C, band D then have to move to band A. Even the banding system is in some way
discriminatory.
Exactly, very discriminatory. It's just basically giving people what they're deserving of, what their entitlements are, but saying that they have to earn it. And then you're now segregating people in different classes in society. And everywhere around the world, several facilities are subsidized for the citizens.
Exactly.
Can we afford it? Can we afford another increase? Whilst we're talking about tariff hike with electricity, internet provider, tariff hike, just which day ago did I load my airtime? It's finished. Everything, the hike is hiking.
You know, like Olive rightly said, we have gotten up to this level.
No, we have not. No.
I mean, even former minister is complaining. You saw the deputy governor of Lagos State complaining. So if people at that level are complaining, imagine what the ordinary Nigerian is going through. This is not sustainable. And what is most annoying about this is a nation that is blessed with abundant sunlight, wind. The entire southern coast is the Atlantic Ocean, so you can harness waves. There's also gas. We have one of the largest gas reserves in Africa.
Gas flaring.
And then we're burning this gas, we're flaring gas. It's ridiculous that the minister thinks the best way to provide electricity is to squeeze more from Nigeria's pocket. Let's think about redeveloping our energy mix. Let's do something about gas, and also the transmission pattern. No, we need to be more efficient and forward-looking when it comes to dealing with our electricity problems. Not all problems are financial. We just need the political will and the resolve to do something about it, because it's ridiculous. No, but I mean, I personally can't pay more for electricity.
I kind of like agree with you, Gbenga. I mean, you've made these salient points. You've highlighted the fact that it's coming at a very tight time. But I think the biggest problem with what we are going through, I was analyzing it this morning on my way to work, and I said to myself, this is a case of saying a father and a son. The son all of a sudden has a deep cut, you know, on his arm, and you have blood gushing. It's coming out, and it's not too good. What does the father do? You know, administer first aid, but it's not looking like that. Rather, the father says, don't worry, let the blood keep coming out. At some point in time, it would stop and it would dry out. That's exactly the best way I could define what the federal government is currently doing. How do I mean? Nigerians are bleeding in the sense that the tariff hikes that are coming from different aspects of living is way too much. Olive did mention one that came from the telcos. We're still battling with data. Data is very expensive.
My data just finished last night, and I was so
surprising.
upset.
We haven't even gotten the hang of that.
We need to invest.
We've not gotten a hang of that yet. Now you have the fuel subsidy. As far as I'm concerned, the fuel subsidy is one of the most ridiculous prospects I've ever seen, in the sense that today you are buying fuel for 900 naira. Tomorrow they tell you it's 870. Tomorrow they tell you, oh no, it's 920. It keeps going back and forth. Whether you like it or not,
to market forces.
Whether you like it or not, you just peg your spending, and at the end of the day, you're spending way too high.
See, the truth is,
that's not all. You still have the educational one. Parents, have you seen what the schools are doing now? The school fees is high. In short, just to use the school transportation, you are paying exorbitant so high that you have to start rethinking, okay, maybe I might have to start saying, look for a school that is close by or something. It's very expensive. We are not done with that yet. The banks, I don't know if you guys have seen the new charges from the banks recently, and nobody's talking about it yet.
Thankfully, my bank said they covered the charge.
I saw.
My bank sent an email
Offline,
to us
we'll
saying,
talk about your bank.
I have to plug you because my bank said they are covering the charges.
I got alerts. I mean, all of a sudden, once it's month end, of course, the bank removed their charges, maintenance. I still wonder what maintenance fee has to do with banking.
Of course, they have to maintain.
Because what are you using ATM maintenance? There's one.
They're using AC to cool your money.
There's one of the banks. Gbenga, I'm angry this morning because there's one of the banks where they take money. They say ATM maintenance. I don't have ATM for that account.
So what are you maintaining?
And I said, please, I don't use ATM for this account. Why are you taking the money for what? And he said, and so on and so forth. Then sometimes, so Nigerians we have a barrage of problems that we're dealing with individually. That's why these days you have to be careful when you talk to people. If you say good morning and they say, how are you?
Everybody
everybody's body is vibrating, it's hot.
People are angry.
But like I said, Nigerians have not gotten there. We love it.
No,
we don't love
we love it.
See, let's not lie.
We love it, because if we don't love it,
let's not lie, let's not thief. It's a very tough time to be in Nigeria now, because you ask yourself, when are we going to get a break? It feels like every day is one layer of discomfort over another layer of discomfort. Joe and Gbenga have succinctly explained what the challenges are. As single people, as married people, it just feels like we don't get a break. Electricity hike right now is not welcome. There are those who have started to call for the resignation of the Minister of Power, asking what exactly is he doing if the essence of a government is to guarantee a decent quality of life with as much as possible minimum difficulty. But it feels like we are not even getting the decent quality of life, and Nigerians are experiencing maximum difficulty. It's not funny.
The way we're going is that people will start renting house and tell them that don't worry about electricity, it's okay, just remove me from
national grid.
Because it's becoming ridiculous.
And then the solar panel, they don't want to ban the solar panel.
Because electricity bills are becoming more expensive than house rent. I mean, that's just...
Electricity bills, now you also want to ban solar panels. You see, let's be honest. The problem is not that you want to bring good policies. In short, the problem is not that you want to make transformative ideas come to life. The problem really is you are doing everything at the same time.
To squeeze.
Nobody does that. Let's even go back to the same analogy that's being used by the administration, that it's like surgery, and after some time it will heal. I also want to recount and ask, have you seen a woman who's about to give birth? She also has fibroid detected in her system. She also has a case of maybe she has, let's say, a hip surgery that she needs to carry out. At that same time, she also has another surgery in her ear.
But guess what? They will never do everything at the same time. In fact, to do a surgery...
I mean, floating the naira and removing the subsidy. We saw the effect of that. We haven't even recovered from that. And then all this tariff and
it's too much. And that brings us to the second story, because let's just segue with that, since we're talking about the same thing.
Economy.
The AFDB boss who came out and said, oh, the way the economy is going, if you don't handle it carefully, what will happen is it's going to actually tank. It's going to crash. And then the SSA to President Tinubu, of course, Mr. Adebayo comes out and says that Mr. Adishino is sounding like Peter Obi, like a politician.
Wow. You know, the way the government handlers are going, if the Pope should say something about this government that they don't like, they will respond to.
Yes, sir.
They will respond to anybody. What did he say that is sounding like a politician?
Well, he responded, he actually made a statement. Let me bring the story so that our viewers can also get the essence of it. He made a statement, I'm talking about Mr. Adishino, who is the outgoing AFDB boss. He made a statement and said that he analyzed Nigeria's economy and said the way the economy is going, there's a lot that's going to happen, and it's going to really impact heavily, especially on Nigerians, in a negative sense. Now, while he did that, President Tinubu gave a speech just a few hours ago, let's say possibly, I think it was yesterday or so, if I can recall. And in that speech, he said, now listen to what the president said. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a clip of that footage. He said he doesn't watch the news. He doesn't read the papers because he doesn't want anything that
No,
will distract him.
initially.
But what he's doing is he's focused, and he wants to ensure that the policy works, that the way the country is going, the economy is turning around, and it's at the corner.
Has turned the corner.
See,
For
by
good.
the end of this administration, which is in 2 years, if we don't see, I don't know that,
That's if they don't win a second term.
well,
As far as I'm
chances
concerned,
are that they will.
the tenure
Maybe.
is ending this year.
So, no, they
Because
have
next
another 2
year is
years.
all about
Campaign.
elections.
Well,
There's nothing again.
if we don't see an improvement in the economy, and forget the semantics that they will give regarding, oh, we're making progress, and they start giving
Rome
indices and
wasn't built
numbers,
in a day.
Rome wasn't built in a day, regardless of what the data and the numbers say, if it doesn't trickle down into the reality of the everyday Nigerians, then all that really is just hogwash. So we have 2 years for this administration, the next 2 years, for us to be able to look at the quality of life of
I don't know why you
Nigerians.
keep saying it's 1
If
year. or
Nigerians
so,
can afford the basics, all we're asking for is the barest basics, decent quality of life, just being able to afford electricity, transportation, and being able to feed.
Even
We're not
pure
even
water.
asking for luxury. We're just asking for
I
the
wanna
barest minimum.
understand, is there something in the water they drink in the villa? Because they seem very disconnected from the reality on the ground. Or their aides don't have people that are just regular citizens. Or the Minister of Power does not understand, he doesn't feel the pulse of the people on the ground. That look, these guys, they've had it up to here, and there's no, you squeeze everything you can squeeze out.
Nothing
of
is
them.
coming out again.
And then how has the economy bent a corner? It would be nice to see data to defend this.
But
and
you-
also the reality on the ground. Ordinary Nigerians, if you do a vox pop across all 6 geopolitical zones and you talk to everyday Nigerians, teachers, civil servants, small and medium enterprises owners, and you ask them about the state of the economy, I'm sure they won't tell you it's bent a corner.
They won't. They won't, and that's why you hear words that have emerged and is well used during this administration, where people use the word psychophancy. It's not in a way trying to, in other words, abuse anyone, but it's in a way of trying to highlight the fact that you cannot in any way have fire in your pants and then say, oh no, it's not burning me, I'm cooling off, I'm doing fine. It's impossible.
Or they are
Because
possible.
It's impossible.
That's the ostrich in the sand approach, where
you
we're
understand?
acting like everything is fine. And we need to stop this thing of when anybody comes out to say what is, then we
must
then
feel as if
attack the
we must
person.
give-
Negative.
we need to really calm down,
I'm
right?
sorry, it's
even
reeking
even the
of
body
area
language
boy,
is bad.
Area is reeking. It's
The body
smelling of
language is just
area
like
boy journalism
you're
or
more
area boy
concerned about
representation.
you're more concerned about the perspective or the impression or the image of the government as opposed to the reality. If you're coming to counter that, come and counter it with facts. you
Okay,
know.
let's do it.
And
It's
not
very
talk
lacking
about
in empathy.
personalities.
Hold on.
How do you mean it's beginning to sound
Hold
like
on.
Peter?
Let's
I mean,
do
that's really
let's do
low.
a check now. How much is a bag of pure water before you got into power? How much is it now? That's check one. Bread. We used to buy sliced bread for about 700, 800 naira. At some point, it
Now
got
it's
to
like
1,000. It's about
2,000,
2,200,
Yeah.
2,600. And then when people talk, you
I
say,
bought noodles
oh, be
yesterday
quiet.
on my way
No,
home.
they
I was
say
craving,
it.
I was craving noodles, and I bought noodles. I feel like every time I want, this it happens to me all the time.
you will say,
so
like 50
I bought
times.
noodles, and I haven't bought noodles in a while. Do you know that noodles has gotten to 400 for that small one we used to buy for 35 naira?
50. Wow.
It is 400 naira now.
Welcome.
I mean, it just shows you. But I mean, we spoke with Mr. Daniel Bwala on this set, and he said, it's not fair to compare to the Buhari administration. That the comparison should start from after they floated the naira and removed fuel subsidy. So you compare Tinubu administration
To
with the
Tinubu administration.
They believe that's the fair comparison to make because we've made serious policy changes. That would
But I
affect
wonder,
us.
is it not the same political party?
Exactly.
There's a lot. If you're going to break it down, everyone would ask questions. Is it not the same political party? Is it not on the same plates that they all eat from?
I hope we have some cheerful news on Wake Up Conversations.
I really do hope,
Anyway.
because it's not the nicest way to start the morning for us.
It's not, unfortunately, but it's just the reality on ground, especially when you hear that. And I'm sure this is not going to be the last tariff. There's going to be a new tariff. we're going to hear of a new tariff very soon. Let's say it here very quickly so that when it comes out,
I'm just
you'll be
pitying
clear
myself at
that
my
we have
estate.
told you that there's a new tariff.
Once this kind of things happen, my estate they'll just put a screenshot of the news headline in the WhatsApp group, basically saying, FYI, take notes.
But it's good. I mean, we look forward to having economists to definitely also help us look into this, look at the indices, and most importantly, that indicate if Nigeria is getting out of the doldrums, or better still, we are sinking in. Because whether you like it or not, the World Bank has also come out to state that very, very soon that the poverty rate is increasing to about 3.8, 3.7%.
It would be nice for Mr. Nanuga to respond to
Yeah,
World Bank.
yeah. I mean, that's the same World Bank.
They would definitely never take that. You realize that when bodies, external bodies, criticize the administration, it's almost like a pushback. The only time they respond positively is if they get positive comments. Once there's a negative criticism, they try to downplay it and make it look like it doesn't carry water. Again, regardless of what the numbers and the stats and the data is showing, if the life of the average Nigerian, if it doesn't trickle down to the life of the average Nigerian in the nearest future, then it will be safe to say that it has all been a failure.
All right, okay. Let's move on now to the next one. This time, a sitting senator who was under fire recently on the case of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and also the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio. She's come out. Her name is Senator Ireti Kingibe. Now, in a video that circulated on social media, it showed her speaking to members of the press. In that interview, of course, while she was speaking, she said that Nigerian youths don't know how to move beyond complaints. She said that Nigerian youths actually are underestimating how much action they have. She also went ahead to say that the youths are complaining less on leaders, and in other words, the youths are actionless. They are not doing anything.
She says charging they should move beyond social media to real life.
Yeah, she was charging the youths, in other words, and speaking about them and saying, you people are not doing anything. You people are just talk. It's basically like saying what we say, you're just keypad warriors, you know. Okay. Everybody just talks. That the youths, you know.
Don't worry, she's charging the youths, right?
Yeah, she's charging.
The youths have finished charging with Nokia charger today. They will see them on the streets of Abuja.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for VDM
very dark
and other
very
things.
dark man. Yeah. So that's what she said. So I mean,
no, I don't totally
know
agree with her. I think we have a vibrant youth. They're aware. They know what is happening, and when the opportunity comes, they'll express themselves peacefully. Remember what happened at NSAS and bad governance. It's that the problem is there's an atmosphere that doesn't allow Nigerians to carry out their constitutional right to protest, and the government has this hangover from the NSAS protest. PTSD, exactly. They feel something really bad is going to happen. So they really stifle protest and want protest to be reduced to the minimum. But the End Bad Governance group from last year are saying like, they've even tagged October's protest, upcoming protest, they're planning for October. They say it's the fearless protest, mother of all protests. So Ireti Kingibe should be on standby. As she's charging the youth, they're still charging.
So that means hopefully we don't know when their batteries will be full.
Well, I think also we need to calm down on the narratives about Nigerian youths. I think that Nigerian youths are some of the most resilient youths anywhere in the world. We've been dealt an unfortunate hand. Unfortunately, the Nigeria that we have is not a Nigeria that our parents should have been proud of handing over to us. But we have taken a Nigeria that they themselves could not fix. And we've taken the situation that would otherwise have broken us, and we found a way to thrive in the midst of it. We've had young people who are telling stories, who are charting a new path. Look at, I don't want to start calling brands, but in the tech space, yes, off the top of my head, I think they're one of the sponsors for Jasiri. You think of certain brands and the opportunities that they're creating.
No government interference.
And it feels like the moment they even start to thrive, the moment they start to thrive, government is looking for how to exploit and extort them.
I mean,
young people are resilient, and we need to stop that narrative.
Exactly, and stop sweeping Nigerian youths with one.
We look, are they the ones that are
there
of
are
course?
people that have lived off government patronage. They've been in government circles since 1999. They've not earned 1 naira in the private sector. They've not done anything. Just living off government patronage.
There are politicians that have been inside the legislative house, season in, season out. It's almost like it's a never-ending series, giving Game of Thrones.
I mean, look at the Nigerian entertainment space, for example, and the amount of jobs they've created. Video editors.
And yet, remember that the government still wants to clamp that down.
Yes.
Can we even just talk about the fact that
you have to shoot
what have
music
you done
videos, you have to pay XYZ amount, you have to do this, you have to. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't tax a profitable sector. But the way you do it is you do it with a sense of understanding and duty that these youths need all the support they see. Living in Nigeria now is starting to look like one of the toughest ways ever on earth for you to survive.
Do you know people who call their friends in Nigeria, those of us that are still here, don't you have friends outside Nigeria that ask you, what are you still doing there? And then you tell them, look, I love being here. I've never really thought about it. Everybody can't run away. There's some of us that, I mean, how far can you run? If you run with all your family members. So at the end of the day, there's some of us that believe in Nigeria, want to make the best of Nigeria. The least that we can get is support from the government, encouragement from the government. We shouldn't have that label and being whipped up, with that same brush like Gbenga had said, labeling Nigerian youths as lazy. Nigerian youths are not lazy. I can start to reel out a number of things that Nigerian young people have done. Nigerian young people have created opportunities for themselves. First of all, let's look at the entertainment industry. We have created multiple means of income. First, with YouTube, a number of young Nigerians have gone into movie production, thereby creating opportunities for other young people, finding out new stars, rising stars. A number of people have started to break free with YouTube because young people have taken the initiatives to create opportunities. Content creation is another space. A number of Nigerians, young people again, have found how they tell stories, they're creating opportunities, teaching master classes. Please.
And they're clamping that down very soon.
Aerospace, engineering, I mean, not just the entertainment space.
I mean, check out the
robotics. It really does upset me when,
see the Nigerian who's making wave. I mean,
Lagos state government was quick to come out and boast about Dirty December and how much they made.
Is it
that
Nigerian young
was
people?
Zero efforts from the government. It was, I mean, even in Dirty December, there were no street lights. The infrastructure was still bad. You think they would be shamed to, make Lagos palatable for the amount of visitors we're making? No.
And then we're stuck in traffic.
And then somebody was giving the lawmakers idea that going forward
they should be taxing for
before you come to Lagos in December. I wonder,
that guy
do we think from our nose?
We donate him to.
Do we think through our noses?
Yes. You know when Terry G sang this song, I didn't know it was being prophetic.
Which song?
So many years ago. He didn't know that. I mean, we didn't know things were going to be so bad. But when Terry G sang that song, he knew what he was doing. You can only run.
Honestly.
I mean, everybody has jackpot now. So who's left? Terry G was telling us to run, because run for the future. Before you go run, man. You don't know that song? I remember Joe growing up with
I know that song now.
We have Fanta or this bottle. He used to be the first to win dancing chairs, musical chairs. He would just push everybody. He's now a gentleman. It's when Usman Dafodio.
Jokes apart, right? Just to say that to young people, are there young people who have maybe with their actions tried to paint us negatively? Oh yes. Are there young people who have engaged in fraud and are giving Nigerian young people, Nigerian youth a bad name? Yes. Are there young people who have hijacked, quote unquote, hijacked protest or being used as an instrument by politicians to manipulate elections? Yes. But that's not the larger population. The larger populace of young people are the ones that are making a change, making a difference in Nigeria, outside the country. Any country you see young people, Nigerian youths go to, they thrive, they excel in their education, in politics. They go there and they just make their mark. So young people were doing the work, and I want to say well done to every young person who's watching this. Young people are the ones who dared in 2020 to stand up against the government. They were the ones who dared to speak up and say enough is enough, we want a change. Young people are the ones who constantly put themselves out there, even at the risk of, the dissent being expressed in the most notorious ways, they still come out to protest, recognizing that protesting is their constitutional right. Peaceful protesting is their constitutional right. And just to add to what you said, Joe, nobody's saying that the government cannot tax. But when people start to see that as you're taxing, they're seeing the effect of the tax, and I think it will be easier. You won't need to convince them too much, right? You can see, yes, there are people who try to evade taxation. However, when you're taxing, what is the tax being used for? Are Nigerians seeing the money being used for anything? Therein lies your answer.
Nothing. But
anyway,
we can go on and on and on and have this conversation in all glare and so on. But then again, you guys have mentioned the entertainment industry.
Agriculture.
I've spent better part of my life as well in these sectors. And I can tell you that till today, we still don't have a movie village. And you know that Nollywood is thriving, always
well, Kunle Afolayan has done something like that.
Who did it?
Kunle Afolayan. It wasn't any government.
And then you know what amazes me? When the same sector wins laurels and so on,
we jump on
you see the government, everybody
to
steps in and says, oh yes, and then we give bogus speech and flip our brother up and down and say, yeah. And then we make promises, political promises, empty promises. We're going to donate 3.4 billion. And people will shout, woo!
Can we also talk about the agri sector? Can we even talk about the agri sector? Because I've been involved in certain brands, that at the end of the day have to talk about agri. So we have young people who are doing work there, want more investment. This diversification we're talking about, we've been talking about it since I was little. Till today, we haven't been able to.
Post-harvest loss.
Because we don't have steady electricity, we don't have.
There's no value chain to process
transportation, to process this and to preserve it. But then we can go on and on about
today's a rant morning.
Yes,
so
it's a rant morning. We do usually best sometimes, and today
we just had to bring it out because of. If you spend so much from your pocket, sometimes you keep quiet, keep quiet.
My eye was red. I was doing transfers, I was doing some payments, and by the time I was done, my eye was red. So if I'm ranting, yes, I was like out and in. You're looking at it, and it's not matching. Anyway, let's share our top stories this morning before we get too angry.